Alright, here we are. Once again, we are in the pocket dimension. Thank you for joining me as I paint all the things. Tonight, we are working on American War of Independence, Battle of Saratoga. And we're going to continue on this little project here. There we go. Those guys. And these guys. Camera looks like it's not doing the thing too well. What's this? Trying some of the... Try that maybe a little bit. There we go. Huh. I wish there was a little bit of... I wish there was some software that I could break into my camera with, but unfortunately that's a plug-and-play sort of an item. And that is... It is just what it is, you know. I can't do much about it. I'm working on some other solutions for camera work, better cameras and the like. So, anyhow, I'm going to do this tonight. See how far we can get. Hopefully everybody's had a good week so far. Today was not terrible. Yesterday was not terrible. Actually, I've had a pretty decent week. I'm very busy. And, get something finished up tomorrow. Yeah, so hopefully lots of little projects. A couple of big ones, some things to hold in my back pocket for a rainy day. So all right. There we go. So, I went to Best Buy the other day. I happened to have a service call on which the way there is near a Best Buy. So, I went to the Best Buy. And I said, hey, do you have this thing that you said you had when I was in here 4 weeks ago? They said, no, we don't. We put them back in the warehouse because of our district manager, blah, 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 whatever. And so I said, oh, all right. He said, but we can order it for you. Really? Well, you know the thing about ordering something? If I wanted to order it, I could have done it from home yesterday. The thing is when I go to a store, I want the shopping experience. I want to be able to see the thing. I want to be able to hold the thing in my hand. And I want to be able to take it home and use it immediately. I don't want to order it and wait for 2 weeks while it gets here after shipping, after paying for next day delivery. That does not work for me. And any outfit that has physical stores and they're trying to send you to their website deserves to be shut down. I.e., GameStop. Oh, we can order that for you. No duh, Poindexter. I can order it for me. Come on. A little bit bonkers. A lot bonkers, actually. Makes me mad. So I don't think I'll ever be giving Best Buy, no matter the location, I don't think that I will be giving Best Buy my custom any longer. I just feel like that's dumb. Oh, yeah, we don't have those anymore. Our manager wanted us to send them back. We're not. But we can order it for you. Look, man, I'm like 3 hours away. I stop in here on my way back and forth to this job. Well, on my way back from this job, never on the way to the job, because after the job is over, it doesn't matter what time I get home. It doesn't matter when I get back. But I'll tell you what, it is frustrating when you want something, you've seen it, you were told that it was available, you told that they had exactly what you wanted, and then they don't. Magically, one day, it's gone. It's like, come on. Do you want my dollar or do you not want my dollar? It's a pity, too, because it was exactly what I've been looking for, which is it was going to be a secondary monitor that I could set up in front here so I could watch the chat in front of me instead of having to turn 90 degrees to my left and possibly missing everybody who chats. So I do have my Social Stream Ninja up and running. So if you're on anything other than Twitch, I should be able to see your chat. Feel free to hop in there and say something rude. No, don't say anything rude. We're a family-friendly channel, by the way, just in case you're new here, if you're watching. So anyhow, so it's been a kind of a weird little paint project. One of the first things I did was try to find out what these uniforms should be, because of the hanger tag said that this was a particular regiment, but I could not find any information about them anywhere I looked. And as you can see, they have sort of a weird short-billed cap, kind of more of a cap than a hat. You might consider it like a proto-shako, if you know what a shako is. But most people think of the American War of Independence as being long coats with turnbacks and tricorn hats, but that's not exactly the case, especially in the later years of the war. Now, the Lafayette Regiment in 1781 had this particular hat, and they wore blue coats. So that's the only thing I could find that was even close to what I was doing. But it was not the, it was not this uniform, nor did it reflect what was going on there. So it was very difficult to find that info. But we'll just keep on trying. We'll keep on painting here. And I don't think it necessarily will matter much. Most people consider War of Independence to be blue coats versus red coats anyway, so. But the fact of the matter is that the uniforms of the time were all over the place. The Continental forces often had brown coats or green coats even. British units, there were some British units with green coats. There were also, of course, the red coats. Most of the British had red coats, from what I can tell. And of course, militia units were just they kind of used what they had, you know. There were also the hunting shirt, which was heavyweight linen, sometimes buckskin. And they would dye that at times. But I'm going to just go with a kind of a linen ivory color, and then let the wash do the rest of the work on that. So we're painting up hands and faces. Probably not the greatest way to approach this. I probably should do the weapon before I do the hands and the faces, but why not, right? Nobody can come to my house and tell me how I should paint. And that's a nice thing, because there's a lot of people these days that try to tell you how you should talk or think or act. This is one of those places where you can do whatever you want to do. So just working on their little faces here. Won't do a whole lot. I'm gonna let the washes do the heavy lifting, you know. Chat's awful quiet tonight. Of course, I will be also on Saturday afternoon at 4 is when I also stream, so that's every other Saturday. And this coming Saturday is our Super Alternate Saturday show. The SASS. SAS. It's the SAS. So I do 4 hours on each Thursday, and then 4 hours on that other alternating Saturdays each. And what it boils down to is it gives me about the same amount of time in a month, on average, as it would if I did 2 hours on Tuesday and 4 hours on Thursday like I used to do. But that was getting a little grindy, a little grueling. Wasn't always able to do it, especially on Tuesday. I'm already losing a couple of hours from my own entertainment when I watch Build, Paint, Play on Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. Check out Build, Paint, Play. I get no consideration for this, but I do like watching the show. I do like participating in the Facebook community that they've got. They have really great guests. Some some people who I've never even heard of before. Up and comers, painting contest winners, great artists, game designers, writers. But check out Build Paint Play on Tuesday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern, right here on the YouTube, if you're watching on the YouTube. Check it out. But yeah, I was thoroughly disappointed that Best Buy did not have the item that I'd waited 3 weeks to get back around to picking up. So that was unfortunate. Maybe they'll shut that location down. Maybe. I mean, if people come in wanting things and you don't have the things that people want, and you say, well, we can order that. Well, they could have stayed home. For that level of customer service, they could stay home. I've been on a trip before. Now, Games Workshop stores in my part of the country are a relatively new phenomenon. We didn't have an actual Games Workshop store anywhere within, 600 miles of me? 500 miles of me? Ever. I mean, we had local stores that would carry the products. And it wasn't until, I want to say February of 2013, I think, was when we had our first, had a Games Workshop store. Actually open up. First one in this area. And by this area, I mean a 2-hour drive from here. But you go in and you ask, do you have this? Oh, no, that's an online order thing. I can order it for you and have it here. I'm like, or I can order it for you and have it sent to your house. Like, well, guess what? I can do that. I can do that too. Of course, if they do that, the sale is supposed to go towards the store, which I understand that. That's great, but yeah. Helps the store numbers. That's great. But it doesn't help me. Not when I'm looking for something specific. Here is a little tag here. Get rid of that. I saw some nice webcams on YouTube that they were doing some reviews of that are much better at focusing, fast focusing, auto focusing, but they're expensive. So I think what I'd like to do is I would like to use a switcher and send those signals in. And get things actually doped in to where I have a much better focus and just lock it off physically. Because the switcher would actually take a lot of the effort off of the CPU. So Some of these faces are sculpted better than others. These are a little blobby right here. This one and this one. Those faces are a little bit blobby. But the uniforms are good. In fact, I got a little bit too much paint in there, I think. But yeah, the uniforms are good, but the faces are blobby. While over here, the faces are blobby, but the uniforms have a couple of things that just kind of blob into each other. So, you know, I guess you just can't win. Can't win them all, you know. Let's see. Faces, hands are done there. Faces, hands are done there. Faces, hands done there. Maybe another coat on some of these guys. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. This is irritating. I just used the pokey tool on this, and it's still clogging up on me. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. Alright, that should be enough to finish the rest of these guys. Now the funny thing about the musicians is they get a red coat with blue piping instead of red coat or blue coat with red piping. So that's funny. That's why I haven't really done much with them yet. I may pop them off of here and do them separately. But nonetheless, we'll go ahead and paint their hands and face. Do their skin bits first, like I always tell my paint and take participants. I say, hey, do the skin bits first. But I've kind of not done that myself lately with this project. I'm doing this. I've done other things first, but I don't think that really makes me a hypocrite. I have the skills and the experience to do things out of sequence if I wish. As you can do when you become more proficient at what you're doing. Not that I'm proficient by any means. Probably do the general last. The general and the musicians last. The banner bearers are also going to be their own thing. Bannermen. Oh, kind of getting away there, aren't I? Down here where we can be a little more comfortable with what we're doing. Bring the camera in a little closer. They're very interesting uniforms. I mean, the uniforms themselves, the jacket and trousers and the like, are about average, but the hats are very interesting. The hats almost have a science fiction, Baroque science fiction feel to them, you know? Like you'd think you'd see something out of Dune or Warhammer 40K or something, you know? So I think it's a very interesting hat. So I was reading online about different movies and the like here in the last couple of days, and I saw a picture of a young Steven Spielberg. He had long hair, but no beard. He did not look like the Steven Spielberg of the 1990s. Very, you could still tell it was him, but I don't think I would have recognized him necessarily without the caption. That was kind of funny. He was one of Kubrick's assistants, evidently. Or worked with Kubrick on a project or two, I think. If I remember the article correctly. I just thought it was kind of funny how young he looked. No beard, long hair, skinny. Which Spielberg's always been a slender fella. As we all are anyway when we're younger. I put on a few pounds myself. As you do. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm going to set these aside so that paint can dry. I don't want to add any more to it or tear it or thicken it. So set that aside for a second. And we'll go to the next batch. Next big batch of guys. Of dudes. Alright. Alright. Well, let's go ahead and paint their hats. What do you say? Let's paint their hats. Break out the old Procryl black here. Procryl coal black. And paint their hats. We'll paint everybody's hats. We'll paint all the hats. Because we paint all the things. a little thin. It's okay. We can always go back over it if it's a little thin. If it still looks a little too thin, we can go back over it. But with it being thin, it might actually stay thick in the crevices and thin on the edges, kind of like a contrast paint or a speed paint. Speaking of speed paints, I believe the Pro Acryl speed paints are now on, you can order them now. Or they just announced it. I got an email about it earlier today, but I did not read it. So one of our sponsors here in the Pocket Dimension is somebody I'm waiting on an email from still. Next Level Miniatures. If you use my code ROCKET5, that's Rocket, ROKKIT, followed by the number 5, you will get 5% off your first order with Next Level Miniatures. Next Level Miniatures is based in St. Louis, Missouri. Made right here in the United States. American made. Miniatures. Affordable. Inexpensive. Miniatures. So you get 5% off if you use my code ROCKET5, ROKKIT 5 at Next Level Miniatures. Check them out. They are good. Good sculpts. Inexpensive. What's not to love? There's some details on that hat. Again, with 15mm figures, especially metal ones, it's hard to know what's detail and what is casting mass. Just painting up some stuff. Don't have much to talk about without anybody in chat, so hop in chat. Give me something to talk about. Tell me about your latest project. What are you working on this week? Got any games coming up? Got this game coming up. So earlier I was talking about my my disappointment with Best Buy. So there is another store on the way home that I frequent called Hobbytown USA. Now, Hobbytown USA had some things that I had liked, and so the money that I was going to spend at Best Buy, I spent at Hobbytown. So, now what did I get at Hobbytown? Well, there was a Horus Heresy Arvis lighter that I thought I might like. It was $80, which as a model is not a terrible price, relatively speaking. And it's a really neat model anyway, so I thought about getting it to put it with my Horus Heresy stuff. When I do that project, I'll have all those parts and bits and vehicles and whatnot. Of course, by the time I'm ready, it'll probably be like 4th edition Horus Heresy. They're up to 3rd already, which I think is a little bit silly. I think they could stick with just 2 editions. But, you know, Workshop's got to keep you on their treadmill. And I think they nerfed or removed a lot of units from 2nd edition anyway. So I think that's a little unfair. But whatever. They can do what they want. They got to eat too, right? But the thing about it is, so I looked at that and I was thinking about it and I looked around and I saw the selection of WizKids figures and some Reaper figures, and I thought, well, maybe I'll get some of those. And then I thought, well, no, there's really nothing that's compelling here. Anything that I want. Nothing I'd be interested in painting online, on stream, and giving away, because I do that a lot of times. I'll paint Reaper or WizKids figures, and I used to do a monthly monster giveaway, but that was not driving the subscriptions. So I kind of low-key quit that. Although a few subscriptions that I did have, I think just about anybody that wanted one got a monster, at least one. So Hey Miar, how's it going? This has always been my camera size. It's always been that size. It's always had the black on the sides. I did wind it in a little bit tonight. I'm working a little closer to the camera. But the screen size is what it's always been. How's Miar's Thursday been today? So anyway, I was telling about my stop in at Hobbytown, USA, and I thought about getting the Arvis lighter for the 30K, my 30K project, but I did not. Instead, I got 2 boxes of the Allies and Adversaries kits from Polar Lights, Aurora. I guess it's Polar Lights, which used to be Aurora, or picked up the old Aurora catalog. Anyhow, there was that kit, and then there was an Enterprise Through the Years kit. So I picked up that as well. But the thing is I've got some of the old Luzaki kits, and I didn't want to buy these kits if they weren't going to be the same scale as the Luzaki kits, because the Luzaki kits he designed to use with his Starfleet Battles game. Not Starfleet Battles, but Starfleet Battles. 2 words, Starfleet Battles. So I was kind of trying to figure out if it was going to be the same size, because they were 1/2500 scale. So I said, now this is an interesting dilemma. I don't know what size these are. Then I remembered I have all the world's information on a terminal on my hip. So I picked up my cell phone, I got online, I typed in what scale Luzaki starships, and wouldn't you know, it was 1/2500. So I picked those others up. So now I have all the starships that I could ever want in order to play Starfleet Battles. Sort of. I think I'd like to trade some out and get some more Klingons. Klingons can also double as Romulans. I really don't have any use for the Ferengi ships, though. as Starfleet Battles is actually set more in the original series universe, or at least the one by Task Force Games, which was picked up by Amarillo Design Bureau, picked up that game after Task Force Games went under. I don't know that they went under, other than maybe they just quit. Whatever it was, however it was, Amarillo got the Starfleet Battles game. But they use a much smaller ship than the Luzaki game. So alright, so the cartridge case on those guys is painted. Well, let's go to the next bunch of dudes. Might need a break here before too long. Sitting down too much. Not too much a fan of sitting right now. In about 2 hours. We're almost at 9 o'clock. Nope, it's only quarter after. Forget it. I don't know, it feels like it's longer. Maybe because I'm kind of a little bit tired today, this evening. A little bit tired. Not too bad. It's been a good week overall, I have to say. Just wonder. I don't see any other. I don't see anybody else in any of the other chats. So looks like the Social Stream Ninja is working. think I would have liked to. I think I'd like to paint up a whole regiment of these guys with the hunting shirts, but their faces are just so blobby. Their faces are just not fun to paint because they're blob. I mean, the face on this guy is really well defined. This one is just, there's barely a nose, and I don't know, it's just awful. Very. It's what I call the historical miniatures paradigm, or paradigm. Maybe that's the wrong word. Paradox. Maybe paradox is a better word. The historical miniatures paradox. So. Pretty well detailed uniforms. Lots of them for not too much. But the faces are just awful. These guys don't have powder horns or anything like that. These guys have hats. Hats that need painted up. And then after we do the hats, we're going to go back through and do everybody's shoes. I got quite a bit of black paint out here on the palette. We're going to use that up. So I changed the exposure setting as well, I think, Miar, on this camera. So maybe that could be what it's looking like too. I don't know. There's a little button that just says exposure on it, and well, I just look at my preview frame and see what it looks like going out. So it's a little darker right now. It's a little bit of a different color. Not quite as bright, I think. These plumes are going to be interesting. I'm not really sure what color to make them, but I couldn't really find a decent representation of this uniform online, especially not this hat. This hat always showed up in dragoons, but never in light. Oh. This hat always goes up in dragoons, but never in light, like infantry. I never see it, but from what I was looking at. So I don't know. Maybe they strategically transferred equipment to alternate locations to get these hats. Yeah, no, the framing is the same, Miar, believe it or not. So it's still in 4x3 or 4x5 or 4x6 or whatever it is. Because this camera that I use is actually it's a documents camera by IPEVO, and it doesn't have the 16:9 setting for whatever reason. Maybe it's because books, since it's used for scanning documents. Supposedly it's supposed to be really good for up close stuff, but I don't really know what up close is as far as it is concerned. I've had it sitting pretty high so I can work underneath it, but I also, it was, the one joint on it was starting to weaken up, and so it kept sliding down on me. So now I've got it kind of tied off with some wire. Ah, in the shower. I see. Well, that's important. You should do that every day. Sometimes twice a day, depending on how bad it is. A clean Mjar is a happy Mjar. Now we're going to paint the cartridge cases here. Batch painting. It's rewarding because you get a lot done, but it's also very boring because now you're painting the same part 87 times. Well, maybe not 87 times, but you know what I mean. I've been nervous at work, afraid I'm getting fired soon. They're watching me like a hawk because I'm on light duty from work injury. Yeah, well, you know, if you're on light duty from work injury, that would be really horrible for them to fire you because you got hurt at work. Accidents happen. I mean, just be yourself, but be 25% better so that they don't have a reason to do that, I guess. Light duty is light duty. If you can't do much, you can't do much, you know? Would they rather just not have you there? I mean, you know, then they'd have to train somebody to do your job. They'd actually lose more by letting you go. Because I think you've been there quite a while, haven't you? Enough to build up some institutional knowledge about what's going on and how things work. Judging everything I do. August, I'm freaking out. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Mjar. Sorry to hear you're having a tough time, man. Are you friendly with anybody on your team of managers or anybody that you can talk to about how you're feeling? I mean, I don't know if that would help. I don't know. You know, sometimes people are so evil. They would view that as a sign of weakness, and then they shark attack. You know, then they attack you like a wild beast. You know, oh, he came to help. He came to ask for help. I mean, what do you know? You know better than I do how you feel about the people you work with, work for. I don't know if you have a large company or a small company to work with. I don't know how that's handled. I don't know. I mean, do they often get rid of people after they've gotten hurt? Because that's a really horrible way to be. And quite honestly, if that's how they treat people, maybe you're better off going somewhere else. You know? Just, frankly speaking. Now I am the hardest worker, but I'm broken. Yeah. They all lie. Yeah. Well, what I would do is I would save every penny until the day they give me my pink slip. And then kick my heels up for joy that I don't have to work with a bunch of liars and cheats and ne'er-do-wells and horrible people. You know? If they're not willing to work with you, then why are you willing to work for them? You know? If you want to work at Lowe's for half or a third of what you're making now, would you be happier? It's a difference between happiness and happiness where you know the standards. You even have some recourse. If you were to get hurt at Lowe's and they canned you, that doesn't look good on Lowe's. So, of course, a lot of that depends on who the managers are. And I've been to Lowe's stores that have lots of happy people working there, and I've been to Lowe's stores where there's not that many people working there, and they're all miserable. The vibe is off, you know. So, all the new safety lady, she keeps saying things, so I repeat it, incriminating stuff 5 times I've counted. Huh. Well, make sure you write it down. I mean, it's entirely possible you could have a case with, employment lawyer or hour and labor board, whatever you have there in your state. Probably not in a union shop. So that's a lot of times if you're in a union shop, you've got some backup from the people in the higher ups in the union. You know, they love to go after people that are making comments like that. If they're making horrible comments about you, and it's in here, you can hear it, then. That might be something to keep in mind. Write everything down? Yep, no doubt. No doubt. I don't know if where you are allows you to record people without their knowledge. Some places you have to tell people if you're recording them. Hey, before we get into this conversation, you mind if I record the rest of this so I can have a record of this? You know, see what they say. If they don't, then you know if they don't agree to it, then you know there's some skullduggery afoot. I mean, if I ask, sure, yeah. All right, there's all that. I think that's everybody's hats painted. So now we're going to paint everybody's shoes. Oh, this is some real exciting hobby stuff tonight, folks. We're painting hats and we're painting shoes. Right shoe, left shoe. Yeah, I'm sorry that you're having trouble there, Miar. That's really awful, man. Maybe you can take a little break this week. Maybe this week we'll get a nice little break on the weekend and you can do some hobbying and clear your head and not worry about it. Get away from all that for a little while. Go for a hike. Go for a walk. Take the missus out to dinner. Just do something fun. Do something fun and inexpensive. Personally, I think I would get a hold of a employment lawyer, have him talk to him and have him on speed dial. Fortunately, that's the one thing. Being in the union, if I got hurt and they were doing shenanigans with me, I've got a lot of people behind me on that. So, and I've dealt with shady employers before. He didn't last. That guy. He tried to say all of his employees were independent contractors. That doesn't fly with the State Labor Board or the IRS. Maybe a walk sounds nice. My wife and I walked last week, and we've seen a pair of bald eagles at a huge lake a town away. Nice! That's a treat. Those birds are bigger than you think, aren't they? Alright, their boots, their shoes are done. Their shoes were made for walking. These shoes I have were made for me, Christopher walking. These boots were made for walking. It's what it says right here. These boots. That's my Christopher Walken impersonation. Never do that again, he says. Yeah, good one. Oh, it was fun. I don't know if it was good. It was fun. It doesn't have to be good to be fun, Miar. Yeah, these fellas got their steps in all the way from Massachusetts to Trenton. Not Trenton. Sorry, Saratoga. Saratoga is in New York. The 7th Continental, I think, was out of Massachusetts. Of course, I think this is really the wrong I don't know how they figured these guys are supposed to be the 7th Continental Light Infantry Division. But that's what it said on... I wrote it down here, 7th Continental Light Infantry. I wrote it down because that's what was on the bag hanger. Now this bag hanger is for the guys in the hunting shirts. 15th, 6th Continental Infantry. So... So what's funny is I put it out on the Facebook, and it always comes back with people putting likes on it 3 days later for when I announce when I'm going live, you know? It's very odd. Facebook is a strange creature. So nobody gets my notifications. I've got an account at Base Layer. I don't know if it would do better to post things up there. It's specifically miniatures based. Base Layer is a miniatures. Basically, it's a miniatures exclusive version of Instagram. I don't know if I would get better traction there or if or what. But I don't know. Social media game is a hard one to figure out. I should have started 10 years ago, you know. I did start 4 years ago, so I mean that is something. But I have unseen notifications on Instagram. Well, speak of the devil. DD sent a reel. We'll have to check that out later on. I think there's a little bit of bad molding going on these boots and shoes. They're kind of all over the place. It's hard to tell what is what. Like I said, that is the paradox of miniature of 15mm historical miniatures. Some are better than others. I've got some absolutely beautiful Napoleonics to do, but the thing that irritates me is all the cleaning I have to do of the mold lines on soft metal. Soft metal likes to bend away, and you can't really, it's hard to clean that way. Plastic tends to, you can kind of push a little harder on it and get a cleaner line. And lead-based metals, I don't like cleaning them. I just don't like handling them. I like metal miniatures, like the white metal figures from Reaper and Ral Partha Legacy. I don't really have a problem with those figures because I know that the metal is fairly clean. But these historical figures they're still using a lot of lead, a lot of high lead content in their figures. Which, I mean, once you've got paint on them, it's really not a problem, but because that's a barrier between you and the actual metal. But I still don't care for them. See, the reason why Reaper and Ral Partha and Games Workshop use that white metal pewter, this stuff. So this is white metal pewter, and it's pretty tough. Like, I can't hardly, if that were lead, I could bend that all over the place, but it's not bending. You know, that would be fairly easy to bend. This tail, you know, I can't bend this tail unless I really go horse on it. So that's a Saurus warrior, temple guard from the Lizard Man range from Workshop. That's white metal. These guys are lead, and so you can see how easy it is to bend. I don't want to bend too much, but I mean, there's a certain amount of stiffness on these rifles, or muskets really, but they are soft and easy to, very malleable, I guess is the right way to say it. I've been trying to keep my hands and mind busy, so I've been doing models and stuff for people, and this STL file just quit on me and did not save. Oh no, just did it. Oh no, sorry to hear that. Oh. The STL file messed up. Uh-oh. Well, hopefully you still have a copy of it. You can make your adjustments again, but that's frustrating. That's frustrating. Second time it's done this. Just the anchors work, no 3D work. Okay. It's the second time it's done that to you. Wow. Is it a slicer issue, maybe? Oh, painting shoes is getting tedious, I gotta say. If I knew how to do all the things like Ed knows how to do, and do cool games online, we'd play some games while I take a break from painting shoes. But I don't know how. I need to learn all this stuff. I'm just too busy, though. Too busy or too tired or whatever. Sometimes the depression gets the best of me and all I can do is lay on the couch and doom scroll. Or I'm hungry and I'm tired and I don't want to do anything, and by the time I have energy, it's too late to do anything. You know? It's too late in the evening. It's too late. It's too late. It's too late. Too late for love. A little Def Leppard for you there. I have to sing it bad, or else the YouTube algorithm will catch it and be like, "Oh, that's a cover song." I mean, I'm not monetized anyway, so it doesn't matter. Oh, that's a copyright strike there. YouTube is getting unhinged and it's a very toxic place right now if you are a new creator, I think. And it's only by YouTube's own doing. That's why I also stream out to Rumble as a backup plan. Not that anybody watches over on Rumble. I think any view counts that I get from Rumble are all bots anyway. 48 views. Yeah, well, none of them were live that I can tell. Oh, well, there were 12 live views. Well, nobody stopped in. Nobody was in the chat to say hello. Whatever. I guess you got to be a political gadfly and make all sorts of horrible comments to really get any traction on any of these platforms anymore. And this is not the place for that. It didn't sound anything like it, yeah. Good, I'm glad. I didn't want to sound anything like it. I wasn't really trying. I wasn't really trying to do anything like it. Uh, all right. Disaster averted. I just irrigated that area, pulled away, thinned down the paint real fast, and pulled it off with a figure. So you can always take the paint off if you catch it soon enough. Sounded pretty good. Well, now let's not tell stories out of school there, Miar. It wasn't that great. Was not that great. All right. It's 5 minutes till 9. Let's take a little bio break here. I've been sitting here for 2 hours. It's time for a little break. I'm gonna have a little drinky drink of water, maybe soda pop even, and I'm going to relieve myself. Not that anybody needed to know that, but that's why I put the bio break up, because I don't have another break card there. But everybody's hats are done, everybody's shoes are done, everybody's jackets are done. The cartridge boxes are all done. So the next thing I think is going to be a Possibles bag. So I'll paint the Possibles bag. Well, that's going to be white as well. So I might just go ahead and do the turnbacks and the collars, cuffs next. So anyhow, stay tuned. We'll be back in about 5. Take a little break. And yeah, after these messages, we'll be right back. All right, and we are back. So I got my mail today, and I have in this envelope I have got more stickers. Monster Den Minis sent me some stickers. So let's see what stickers he sent me today. That is Ed over at Monster Den Minis. Check out Monster Den Minis on Twitch. I believe on Thursday nights he streams and Sunday nights he streams. Alright. So, first one. Hey, this is pretty cool. A Beholder from Foxbite Miniatures. Ed is sponsored by Foxbite, so use his code to get a discount at your Foxbite from Foxbite. Here is a Monster Den Minis sticker designed by Quantum Reveries. So that is Sean over at Quantum Reveries. So got that from him. That was nice. And remember how I was talking about the games that we play on Ed's stream? Marbles on stream. The curse is real. Nice. And there's the Salacious Young Jawa and the Monster Den Monster and Otis. So all in marbles, and there's a little track. So Ed sent me these, so I'll have to hop over there. We'll have to, hopefully, if he's on tonight, we'll raid over to him at the end and tell him thanks. Drop him a line. But yeah, check out Monster Den Minis right here on Twitch. He's got a lot more information on his page than I have on mine, so you can always see what his schedule is. It's posted up on his page. He always streams on Sunday nights, though, so check him out. Upcoming, if he's not on tonight, I think he's on tonight. He starts at 7 or 8 o'clock Central Time, so he overlaps by about an hour. So, all right. So that was fun. We got some nice new stickers from Monster Den Minis. So, I need to come up with some stickers, some new stickers myself. I have fallen behind in my design work. I didn't design any for this year's Adepticon. The problem is it was a financial squeeze this year for me. Whenever I get whenever the time is that I do my sticker designs, I was running on fumes. So that happens sometimes. Well, it doesn't happen sometimes. It happened this time because somebody wasn't paying attention. It wasn't my fault. So I had to fight my way back up the food chain here. Alright, we're going to do the turnbacks and the cuffs on these jackets. Also, if anybody out there has ever watched Mike Disney, The Art of Mike Disney, he's having some trouble right now. I don't know if he's got a GoFundMe yet or not, but stay tuned. We'll find out. I'll let you all know on Saturday. His house was in bad repair, and he couldn't handle those repairs, and something happened. He wound up in the hospital. So he's having a rough time of it. I know, Miar, I know you've watched Mike Disney. But super nice guy. Just having a hard time right now, health-wise and the like, so I'll get more. We'll get more information about him, and if there's any way to help him. Out. We'll get more information later on this week. Not that anybody ever watches my channel enough to help. Which we still are $100 short of our goal for the 988 mental health line. So if you're out there and wanting to help, oh shoot, I don't know. Is that? See, again, here's the paradox. I don't know what is what on these figures. It's hard to tell. Hard to tell what is what on these figures. I can't tell what is jacket and what is strap. It's very difficult. Like I said, it's almost near impossible to find any kind of representation of this particular uniform. I think this is a fictional uniform that somebody just made up out of whole cloth. The hat's weird. The gear is pretty well spot on, but the hat, like I said, the hat is more of a dragoon hat than a light infantry hat. It's very odd. Very, very odd. Fumble fingers. You know what? I'm a big dummy. I had been intending to do these up in yellow, not red, because red and blue was first Continental. Well, I'll do some of them in red and some of them in yellow. Why not? I'll do these guys up in red. Maybe maybe that was all they had in stores, you know. Maybe they pulled them off of their deceased comrades. They needed their jackets. I was going to do these up in yellow, not red. I forgot. I don't know why I was thinking red. I don't know why. I don't know why. But that's all right. I'll go ahead and make these guys up with red, and the next batches will all get yellow. See, what you don't know is there's a little tiny 15 millimeter fife player over here, and he's tootling away. It just sounds like I'm whistling, but I'm not really. Oh, I don't remember the name of that tune, Miar. It's just one of those Marshall tunes that has kind of persisted through the years. I don't remember the name of it. It was only a few weeks ago, I don't know, a couple weeks ago maybe, I did actually find out what the name of that tune was, and I meant to remember it, but I have since forgotten the name of that tune. So I'm sorry I can't tell you. And then there's the one song that Chief O'Brien sang in Star Trek. It's an older song as well, and you might consider it even the world's first anti-war song. It's called The Minstrel Boy. The minstrel boy went off to war, his father's sword girt on his side, and in the ranks of death you'll find something blah 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 blah. I don't remember the words exactly. I sort of remember the words, but not enough to keep going with that one. Land of freedom and land of hope, no others may betray you. Dee 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 dee. Something like that. I don't remember exactly. But that was Chief O'Brien met up with one of his old commanders, and they had a bit of a spot of the whiskey, a wee dram between them. They were talking about the old times on the old ship. Alright, well, that looks pretty good. It looks a lot better than I thought it was going to look. I'm going to touch up some of this stuff a little bit. Let's get a little titanium white out here. And clean up where I got a little extra color that I didn't want. It's funny how red is a weak pigment, but whenever it gets in the wrong place, it gets really strong. Well, let's do this. Let's take some of this ivory here. Let's paint their breeches in ivory. And we'll leave their spats. So there should be a parting line right here. Not a parting line, but they're like, these guys have spats. And again, It doesn't really show where the spats end, but I think they come up over the knee a little bit, like they would come over the knee. So we're going to do the old school version of, well, old school, it's not really old school version, it's just historical gamers have painted on detail over the years where they're supposed to be detail, because historical miniatures have often not had enough detail or the detail in the right place. It's just a feature of the thing, you know. So we're going to paint their breeches. In ivory, a little off-white. Because see, I can see where that, so right here there's a line where he's got like a gaiter that goes over his shoe. It stops right here. There's a line right there. But that line doesn't continue around as a detail. So it behooves me to paint that detail in. Probably doesn't show up very well on this camera between the ivory and the white, but I'm stopping just above the knee to give the look of there being a gaiter there. I guess I could go back and just draw it in with some gray paint as well, which I might do that actually, but I've got a whole mess of these more to go. Good little soldiers, yeah. Well, they're standing stock still, so they're definitely holding it at attention. I just wish the sculpting was a little bit better on them Miar. But that's kind of the way that Historical miniatures always have been. They've just always kind of been just a little on the good enough for gaming side of things, where certain details are either solely implied and not actually there, or you actually have to just go ahead and paint the detail in. Which I feel is like a little bit unfair to the customer. Because here's the thing. Here's a thought. So miniatures are a collective art project. Somebody has a concept for the miniature. Somebody draws the miniature up, oftentimes the person with the concept. But sometimes the concept is given to the artist by somebody else. So an artist draws the miniature, draws the concept art, or draws an image. Then they give it to a sculptor, and the sculptor sculpts as close as he can to the image. And then the sculptor sends his master off to a mold maker. Mold maker makes a master copy. And then they use that to create tooling for production copies. And then after those production copies are made, they send it off to you for the final touch, the final interpretation. You decide what color goes on that miniature. Nobody else knows what color that miniature is going to be. Even the sculptor oftentimes doesn't think of what color looks best on these figures. So you get to make the final and definite interpretation of the look of that figure. You tell the final chapter of their story. I think that's kind of cool. I think that's kind of neat. Well, those 5 little guys came out pretty good so far. I could go further maybe and finish these guys up all the way, but I think I'm going to move on to the next batch. All right. Well, since I got a big puddle of ivory out here, let's go ahead and use it up as I can here. Let's see. What other things can I talk about? I don't know. Let's see. Well, it's supposed to get hot this weekend, which is disappointing because it has been so nice lately. I actually wore my sweatshirt just about all day today. Even working outside, I was in my sweatshirt. It was nice. It was a cool day, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terribly overcast. Kept the sun off mostly. It was pleasant. That's a word. It was pleasant today. But it's supposed to get up in the 90s this weekend. So, I had a service call Monday, followed up yesterday, finished it up. Had to install a new attic fan for some older ladies. So, the old one had started to squeak really bad. I tried to put some WD-40 on it to see if I could make it slick and knock out, because the original attic fan was only installed in 2014. So, it's 12 years old. It's not out of the question that it's just time. It's just kind of at the end of its duty cycle. Duty life. But the thing about it is I used WD-40, but I should have used maybe some silicone lube. But the thing about that is I probably still wouldn't have been able to get it down into the where the bearing was, just because the way, it's just cheap consumer, get it a Lowe's kind of attic fan. So I went ahead and got that done yesterday, and it was quite warm in the attic, but I'm glad that it wasn't next week when it's going to be, it could have easily been way too hot in that attic yesterday afternoon had I waited until next week. So that was it wasn't too bad. It was warm in the attic, but it wasn't oppressively so. I got the job done pretty quick. I mean, all I had to do was take down the old one and put back the new one where the old one had been, put the screws back in, and connect the wires in the thermostat control box. So simple work. Simple work from a simple man. Mama told me when I was young. Man, Simple Man is a great song. Great song by a great band. She said, sit beside me, my only son. All right. That looks pretty good. So I guess I'm going to pivot and do their trousers a little bit. Cuttlefish Colors, Merlin's Magic Medium. I highly recommend it. Not sponsored. I just like the product. No, Monster Jam Minis does some really nice work. So if you're watching this channel, you should watch his channel too. Miar, if you get a chance, why don't you go ahead and type in a shout out for Monster Den Minis. I think it'll work. I should give you and Dee Dee a wrench. Should make you guys hall monitors. Oh. Well, I think if you just go /shoutout and then type in Monster Den Minis, I think that would work. I'm not sure. It's been so long since I've done it. There's a way I can do it on the back end, but people in chat should be able to actually do a shout out as well. Yeah, that's fine too. Put the link in chat. That's fine. Oh, what was that? How did I get black in my ivory? Yikes. Oh, I know. So I've been listening to a lot of documentaries online or on YouTube. A couple weeks ago or a week ago, I was digging a ditch. So not really anything else to do but listen to some documentaries. So I looked up Hatfields and McCoys, who were kind of in this area, a little bit further south. Actually, where I was day before yesterday. It was down southern, southwestern West Virginia, on the near to the Kentucky border there. I was working down there this week. Down in that area where it's all about the Hatfields and McCoys down there still. They use that as sort of their what you call it, historical point of reference for tourism. A really interesting history to those families. And what's crazier about it, the wild thing is, a lot of them were actually related to each other in roundabout ways. So, so that was pretty good. That's kind of interesting. Excuse me just a moment. Be Alright, I'm back. I am back. So, anyhow, that wasn't really too bad. I just needed to drop a line to somebody. So, alright, let's see. Still doing the breeches. Pumpkin, what are you chewing on? What are you getting into there, buddy? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on, get out of there. Out, 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 out. Yeah, alright, thank you. Oh, ha ha ha. Alright. Let's see, breeches and breeches. Breeches on those guys. I've already got three sticks worth of guys with breeches done. Oh, what do I want to do next? Do I want to do another one? Let's see, how many dudes here? 3, 7, 10, 13, 16, 19, 20. Do I want to paint another 20 dudes worth of breeches right now? I really don't. I really don't. I know that I usually go to 11 on Thursday nights, but I think it's almost 10 o'clock. So I think that it's a good time to put a pin in it. I've got three sticks worth of dudes with their breeches painted. All these guys here, these three. And so I've got 3 more sticks of dudes. So 20 dudes yet to go. And I really don't feel up to doing any more of them tonight. I mean, I do, but I also don't. I'm kind of feeling tired. I think I'd like to go to bed. I've had a couple of short nights this week. So I could probably use the extra sleep tonight. Extra hour. Yeah, I think I will, Miar. So, we are going to bid good night to everyone on the Rumble and the YouTube. And you can join me again on Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. And if you want some fine miniatures, check out Next Level Miniatures. Use my code ROCKET5, ROKKIT, followed by the number 5. That's ROCKET5 for 5% off your first order from Next Level Miniatures. So, we're going to say our goodbyes. Remember, no matter how bad today might have been, the sun is coming up tomorrow, and the world is a better place with you in it. Keep on painting, keep on playing. Good night, YouTube.